Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And a few weeks ago, when I was trying to go on my adventures, the weather was so extreme that I couldn't even go anywhere because everything was flooded out. And actually, it's exactly the same this week, 2 weeks later, and the weather's even worse folks. Look, there's the Coast Guard helicopter. Don't know if you can hear it even coming out, but there's just tons of Coast Guards and stuff. The town of Brechin's getting total flooded out right now, and the River South Esk has proper burst its banks down at the well-named River Street, properly flooded just now. And for today's wee storm adventure, I've just taken a walk basically out of Brechin, and I'm heading out towards what is the Storm Babet, which is an old sandstone bridge. But normally when the River South Esk's pretty high, like, this is an incredible spot. But obviously I'm going to stay safe and just make sure I didn't get swept away, because there's been people proper swept away in the river and everything this year, and it's just crazy scenes out here in Scotland. So this back road here, it's kind of Brechin to Forfar via the little village of Aberlemno. And literally the road's super busy today because the main dual carriageway between, I'm sure it's between Stonehaven and Dundee, they've totally shut the dual carriageway, so all traffic's now taking these small like side roads. And the scenes are just mad out here folks. It's honestly like a post-apocalyptic scene out here today. This is absolutely insane folks. I'm now approaching Storm Babet, and right to my right hand side here now, look. You can actually see the river's right at the foot of this hill here beside me. This road's super busy, and shout out if you're driving about in these conditions. The roads are so flooded out, it's just extreme, and you're only really meant to travel if it's totally necessary. And it's a proper red storm warning here. We're basically in the heart of the storm, and the rain's been on and off super heavy, even when I was making my way down here. So the river's just the full width here of the field. I'm going to get a better look here from the edge of the bridge. No way folks, look down through the trees. The flow of the water here is just extreme, because obviously the bridge is super narrow, and the quantity of water coming down from the glens right now, the bridge can't handle it. The hole underneath the bridge is too small for all the water to go. Wow, look at it here folks. This is an extreme scene here. Wow. That's crazy folks. If you fell in there today, there's proper whole trees and stuff floating down there, like absolute madness right there. It's obviously a super busy road. There's people waving, shout out if you see yourself in the video driving past. Probably some of my subscribers. There's some mad scenes down this other side, but I'm going to go to a safer area here to record it. It's absolutely incredible. Check this out folks, this is incredible. This is normally a field in front of me. The river's normally just a small narrow section there, but look how ferocious it is. There's a lot of TV crews and news teams like Sky News and stuff further down in Brechin itself next to the big bridge, but like to see the ferociousness and the extremeness of the river, it's cool to come to a place like this. Look how brown the water is, and that's from all the silt and earth getting washed from the crazy wild Scottish landscape upstream. And look at it folks, this is just mad. Another incredible thing to consider is like the force of water at the other side of this piece of land pushing on the bridge. These old bridges were built in like the 17 and 1800s, and think how many mad storms they've had to put up with over the years. But just look how far it is from here all the way to the other side of the river. The scenes are just incredible, and I've just noticed there's some debris on the lens there, so I'll give it a dry. So the crazy thing when it's like this folks, look, you can see it's been even higher. The crazy thing with the River South Esk is that it's actually a tidal river. So when the tide comes in way out at the east coast, like miles away, it's probably like 10 miles away potentially, the river away inland here at places like Brechin actually rises and falls with the tide. So when it's already high like this at low tide, You can imagine how the surge of the waves, well, the surge of the tide coming in raises the whole river level up like this. That's how often it appears that a flood like this is receding, when in all fairness it's not. So it's mad stuff like that occurs in these Scottish rivers. Like, they're tidal rivers, and the speed of the water I can see at the far side in the main river is just unreal. And like, you can just see the fence here disappearing away down under the water. This water here is so deep, I can't even exaggerate to you. If I walked out to the edge there, I'd disappear within a couple of meters. I'd be fully under the water. And look at this, you can see how deep it is from the way this fence post is here. There's a strainer post and it's just literally disappearing. And like, there'll be mad undercurrents even away over here and stuff like that. It's like crazy, folks. I can't even comprehend what I'm seeing often when I come to places like this. I can see that the little Buckle Road there up on the back hill's pretty busy as well, with the traffic being diverted. Wow, folks, it's crazy. It's like an apocalyptic world sometimes here in Scotland in the storms. And like, when it's a red weather alert, that's how I just left the Kia at home today, folks. Like, there's no point in taking water into air intake for no reason. After spending all that money doing the clutch and stuff on the car, it would be pointless driving it into a flood. Like, you can see here once again how the higher level of the water's been up at this level, and then as it's receded, it's left all this debris. And it'll be interesting, once the floods do recede, there'll be so much of this evidence of it at the high level. Look at this view here looking back to the bridge. And this is of course Stanicky Bridge here, out on the Aberlemno Road basically from Brechin. And this is just such a scene, folks. Like, maybe once the storms recede in a couple of weeks or whatever, I could come back and document this again just to show the viewers how it should look, because literally this is a field over to these first trees. And like, luckily obviously the farmer hasn't had any animals or livestock in the river, but wow, what a scene. Anyway, I'm going to head back up out here now, folks. It's cool just to have a wee storm video like that and just see how ferocious Scotland can be at times. The wild weather, and the wind has been extreme as well, not just the rain. But I'm surprised there's still quite a lot of leaves on the trees considering the strong winds. There's a lot of trees and stuff being blown down as well. It's just an extreme Scottish environment basically. Look at this, the road's so busy, Arctic lorries, cars, and it's just a constant stream of traffic. Now it's getting to this later stage of the day, people will be finishing work and making their way home for the weekend. This is one of the few roads here that are able to do that, make their way home safely. Wow. So it's often these rivers and wild storms that carve these incredible landscapes over the years. And it's just special to see it when it is popping off like that. It's like so extreme. The quantity of water there that's moving off the land from the high glens down to sea level, it's just of biblical proportions right there. And to document it on a video, it's just a cool wee adventure. I did come underneath this gate on the way in, so I wonder if I could do it again, folks. Look at that. That's how we do it. Out and back onto this busy main road. Here we go. Alright folks, welcome to this exciting video where you once again join me in the wild landscape of Scotland. And once again, this is another episode. I'm in the heart of Brechin here, and I'm actually on the old steam railway line that used to run through this incredible landscape. Now it's been made into a public footpath, but today's another one of these extreme Storm Babet videos, and it's almost like the aftermath. We're still kind of in the storm, but I just thought I would start the video here at this old footpath that used to go over the top of the railway. The old bridge is still here, and you can sort of see the character of the old British steam railway with a thing like this. Look at the old brackets up here on the wall, and that was originally for the old telegraph cables, which used to run alongside the railways most commonly, because when all this stuff was put in, like the old telegraph lines, the railway was like the most straight route for the wires to go, so they used to just run them down the side of the railway. Super windy today, folks, but like I say, it's a Storm Babet episode, and I'm way to head down this side of Brechin, and we're going to go down to what's called River Street, which has been completely annihilated with this flood water. And like, shout out to anybody from the River Street area, like, we're thinking about you at these tough times, and like how crazy and horrible it must be to have all your furniture like swept away in the water, or even soaked by the water. It's a horrible thing. But yeah, we're out here just basically documenting the storm for people all over the world to see. I just thought I would start, it's typical on this channel, we've got a piece of old history at the start of any adventure. It's just so cool to see little nuggets like that. From the extreme strong winds we've had as well, you can see the carpet of leaves which is now on the floor here of this path. Anyway, let's head on with this adventure, folks. I'll update you once I'm further down into this madness of the Storm Babet. Look at this, folks, there's an extreme amount of water and it's just been basically flowing down that area. Looks like they've been doing some work on the drains here before the storm actually started. But yeah, all that water flowing down by the path I just came down, it's kind of ending up in this spot, causing this little flood. Something you have to be careful for in a flood is the drain lids can actually get washed out of place, and if you're walking through the water and you can't see, you have to watch you don't go way down a drain. You would be aware. Often with the flow of water, when the weather's like this here in Scotland, like in the rivers and the areas where the water's deep, like literally there's nothing you could do. Even the strongest of swimmers, they get swept away. And it's just a crazy scene, folks. Look at it here. It's flowing out onto the main road here. Wow, these fields and stuff are proper flooded. All around this Angus area, we're kind of in the heart of the storm here. And even right now it's raining. It's been raining for like 3 days, and it was raining all through the night last night. And even right now it's still raining, so it's just a crazy scene out here on the channel once again. The wild lands of Scotland, folks. I say it on the videos, but it's true. Sometimes the weather and the landscape can just be so extreme. But then that's what gives the land its character. So this is mad here, folks. The police have got the road blocked. Looking down here towards like the river and River Street right here. The boys getting in because it's super rainy. They're basically blocking the cars here and turning them around. So there we go, folks. I spoke to the police officers there and they said it's not safe to go down. They're expecting a surge in the river right here because basically the time of day it is, the surge in the river comes down from the glens. There's heavy rain up there right now, they're saying. But another interesting thing, the river's tidal obviously with the sea, so that slows the flow of the river getting like down off the hills, and it causes a backup of water, and that's what floods these incredible places. So yeah, I'm heading further along. I'm going to try and go down a different street further down here basically. I tell him I was wanting to just observe the river from a safe distance, but he says it's not advised to go down there, so I'll obviously adhere to their word. So seeing the river at Brechin, folks, has been a fail so far. This is an area in Brechin that you may recognise for the recent adventure we had in Brechin, exploring some of the old historical areas, and this is actually the old Flicks nightclub I'm walking past now. I came up this way because I thought that little burn at the bottom of the hill might have been extreme, but it looks like it's flowing pretty well right now, so there's no point in going down. If it was bursting its banks it would be quite cool to see, but yeah, we'll head on somewhere else in this video now, folks. Here we are, folks, we've made it to the side of the River South Esk here, and literally this video was a failure so far to actually get to the river, but I've come back to the same spot I was at yesterday, but today I've come to the other side of the river. In yesterday's, well, the last storm video you may have seen, I was actually at Stanicky Brig, which is a wild piece of land, and it's the same, but I can see the river level's actually dropped since the last time I was here. And obviously we're keeping it safe on the channel here. I'm keeping a safe distance from the ferocious river. But I just thought if I came down this side of the river we would get a different aspect and a different perspective of the storm here and the river. See what's going on here in this mad land. and hopefully I can get a view looking back down towards Stanachy Brig here. It's basically the Forfar road from Brechin, the back road. It takes you through the village of Aberlemno. And yeah, it's quite a beautiful piece of land normally, but because of this Storm Babet that hit here a few days ago, it's been like 3 days of solid rain, but now I'm actually starting to see the sun shine on the horizon. So let's head down here, folks, and see the condition of the river here at this side. You can see how it's definitely been a lot higher recently. It's been further up. Obviously that water's still deep and super ferocious, but like when the tide comes in here from obviously the North Sea coast at Montrose, pushes in up this river, which then slows the flow, and they were actually expecting a storm surge from the glens because it's raining away up in the glens feeding these rivers. So when you get a combination of the heavy rain up the glens and then the tide coming in down at the coast, it causes places like the town of Brechin there and other like little areas up the river just to completely flood, because the river just rises up so much. And that's the reason it may look like this just now, because the tide's not actually fully in. And I did call Brechin a town there. It's actually officially a city because it's got a cathedral, even though it's the size of like a common Scottish town. Check it out, we can kind of see the Stanachy Brig there just through the gap in the trees. And the scene out here, folks, is just crazy. It's just mad to see it. There's actually like Land Rover tracks leading down here, and I think that must have been pre-storm. Probably the gamekeeper or whoever had been doing at this spot here. Wow, it's just mad to see the current and the flow and the ferociousness. This is obviously calm water in front of me, and then when it gets over to a certain level there, it's just extreme, and the flow is just extreme as well. Like, there's no other real words to describe it. Often weekends like this, I'm dying to go out exploring and like visiting ancient abandoned historical wonders, but right here we've got like travel restrictions and every road is closed. And even this Aberlemno road, this was one of the few roads that was actually open out of Brechin, and now it seems to be shut as well. But I think the Brechin to Montrose road seems to still be open. But like, it's just crazy to kind of be, it's like having your wings clipped when you're an explorer. You're limited as to how far you can go, and that's just how I've been out on these wee walks, just documenting the storm where I can. Yeah, when you see the ferociousness of the river, it's just mad. The water's pure brown with the silt and earth getting carried down from the glens. But this is obviously like nature at its most extreme, and it has got a habit of doing this here in Scotland now and again. Like, you do get extreme floods, and yeah, it's just mad to document it on these videos. Anyway, I'll head on. I might actually nip over to the other side of the bridge again and see if it's changed from that last storm video. We'll see if like the river's dropped at all or risen, or how it even looks. I had never even been down this side of the river before. I think one time years ago I actually walked down when the river was low. I was underneath that old bridge documenting the stonework and stuff, but as you can see from today, there's just no way of getting near it. And yesterday when I walked around here, the water was flowing in here ferociously, and it just made me think, like, I was imagining that whole piece of land getting like eroded away, because that's what would happen if it was constant for day upon day. Anyway, let's head on with this adventure, folks. It is literally just about sunset, and that's how we're getting this beautiful sky here. It's almost like a painting right there, folks. It's a painting of devastation. Another cool thing, it's like the storm is definitely moving past now, because all that strong wind that we were getting is now gone. There's so many little like tree branches and things down, and often some of the roads is blocked because of trees falling. So it's good just when everything goes back to normal and we can go out exploring properly once again and visiting ancient abandoned wonders of Scotland. Look at this, folks. Let's see how it's changed compared to last time I looked down this side of the river. Wow. Yeah, it's mad down at Brechin, because literally I saw like the lady on Sky News was pretty much standing on the pavement down by the river where it's washed away. But yeah, I wasn't even able to go anywhere near it. I couldn't even see the river in the distance. But it's because it's a red warning. It is serious. Lives have been lost, so obviously the emergency services have to judge everybody to the same standard as like the least able person, because they didn't ken who they're dealing with. Yeah, I can see the river levels have actually receded here greatly, folks. Look at this. In the last storm video when I came here, that strainer post there was the last thing we could see at the corner of the water, whereas today I can see the whole fence right around this field. And this is an interesting spot here, folks, because look, this is actually as far as we were able to even walk the last day. Yeah, pieces of land like this are just mad. And look, we've got this sunset over at the far side of this incredible landscape. It is good to see that the water's receding now though, and maybe even tomorrow. The red warning's over tonight basically, I think at midnight. And yeah, like it would be good to go out exploring tomorrow and maybe see some of the areas which has been devastated. I ken there's roads like at Cortahay that's just completely gone. Main roads that look like this in places. Yeah, we'll obviously just have to explore safely, and if there's like sometimes electric companies and stuff going around trying to get power grids and that back on, you just basically have to kind of stay out of the road and let everybody get on who's trying to actually do things. But I do love to document stuff like this. Yeah, so even today when the river's not fully receded yet, you can get an idea of actually how high it was yesterday. That's how it's cool often in videos to do a comparison and sometimes come back to the very same spot like after the storm. And I'm sure in a couple of days that the river water will be way over in line with these trees where it should be. This is normally an excellent grazing area. Obviously it's still pretty severely flooded, but normally there's always like sheep or cows down in this area most times a year. Wow. This is just so cool to see, folks. I just love being out, and sometimes it's cool just to get out in nature and into fresh air instead of being cooped up in the house all day. I've had people texting me to see if I'm okay, because obviously the area I live in is worse affected, but like literally the news and stuff would have you believe that it's so extremely severe, when actually it is severe, but not to that level where like everybody's in danger. It's only a few people like down near the river and people who are trying to go on journeys unnecessarily that are putting themselves at risk. I can see car tracks leading right down into the river there as well. That must have been pre-flood. Yeah, this looked so different a few days ago, folks. Anyway, what a crazy little adventure this has been. We've literally walked miles to document the height of the river. Probably as the tide rises and falls, even when this is receding, it could still come a wee bit higher. But from what I'm seeing, even up the direction of the glens here that feed this river, it seems to be calm now and starting to clear up. And it's so good to see that the storm's passed. This high pressure that was pushing the storm up from Europe is now upon us, and we're actually getting some milder weather. But here we are, the River South Esk, folks. It's another storm report here on the BKR channel. Obviously the last couple of days I've been limited as to where I can go, so I've just shown you basically some of the extreme conditions I'm dealing with. Yeah, it's been a bit of fun. Anyway, I'll end this one here, folks, in front of this sunset at the Stanicky Brig. I'll end this fun adventure here, and I'll catch you very soon for the next one. Thanks very much for watching.
Bye.